Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel where we learn Power Platform one step at a time. Before I start, I must say thank you very much for watching my first video on Power Platform pipelines where I talk about the setup and basics of it. But today we'll be talking about the advanced version of it, how to set up delegated deployments, how to use approval process before your actual solution goes to production, and how you can move ownership and transfer ownership even if your dev account is being used to actually click and deploy to production. So let's get started.
All right, so here we are in my dev environment. So in my last video of Power Platform pipelines, I showed you how to create like a solution and how to install the overall pipeline solution. So for this, which is the advanced version of it, how to extend Power Platform pipelines, what I have done, I've created one simple solution with one environment variable. So what I want you to see in this one is how the owner changes. So in my earlier video, when I deployed a solution to my UAT environment without delegated deployment, the owner was myself, right? So for example, I showed you this is my UAT environment. If I open the same one here again, you can see the owner is Akshan Sharma here as well. So this is the important bit for us to know. So this is the solution we will be deploying, and I'll quickly show you how this is being done, and then we will jump back in our Power Platform pipeline solution, how I created the pipeline, what changes I have done, and how I have created the Power Automate flows. So let's quickly go to, as you can see, I just tested 13 minutes ago. It's working fine. So here are my two pipelines. This one I used in my last video. This one I created for this one, which is delegated deploy. So I selected this one, deploy here, next, validating, perfect. Should not take much time. So once this is validation is done, we'll click deploy, and now what will happen is it will wait for an approval. So delegated deployment, I would say yes, next, deploy. So this will wait for an approval, and once the approval is done, then only it will push the actual version to UAT with the ownership of the service account which I created. So currently it's exporting, and the moment it's waiting for the approval, you will see a nice yellow banner here which will tell you that it's waiting for someone's approval. So let's give it a minute. Quickly check my mail as well. No, still waiting. Yeah, perfect. So there you go. Your request to deploy is pending. So learn more. It will take you to the learn article. Then let's again switch back to my Outlook email. So here we will receive one approval notification asking to approve the deployment. So there we go. Perfect. So you can see approval needed for this is just template which I'll share on my GitHub as well. So you can just download the whole solution, the Power Automate flows with delegation deployment, and use it out of the box. So we'll approve this, approved for delegated deployment. You can see submit. Perfect. The action is completed now. So the moment that's done, you will see perfect. So you can see currently deploying 1.0.12. Right. So what this will mean? So this means that we approved the deployment to move to UAT. It will take, should not take more than a minute. So yeah, Okay, meanwhile it's deploying, I'll quickly jump back to my admin account, and you can see I created one svcpp admin and in my dev tenant. So that's the application. Yeah, so you can see is personal pipeline, so that is owned by my personal account, and this delegated deploy is owned by the service account which I created. So let's quickly see. Perfect, a few seconds ago. So deployment is done. Let's quickly head back to my UAT environment. You can see, go to managed testing delegated pipeline. That's what we just published. And you can see the owner is the service account, Power Platform admin. So why this is helpful? So for example, let's say you have an admin account or a service account which should own all your components in your production environment, and you are doing the development using a dev service account. Okay, so when you are doing the push to your actual UAT and prod environments, you don't want your components to be owned by your developer account, right? It makes sense, because if anything happens to the dev account, your production components either will be orphaned or will break. So this helps you to push your solution via your dev account, but the actual ownership will lie with your production account or admin account, however you want to use it. So that's why it's very important. So Power Platform admin, you can see all your components will be owned by this service account. So this was kind of the final demo. Now let's dig deep how we achieve this and what changes we need to do compared to my previous video in this one. So let's switch back to admin. So that's my admin account. Again, Power Platform admin. You can see I have two different pipelines which I just showed you. Let's open the delegated deployment. Actually, let's open them side by side. So I'll just quickly duplicate this, and in one tab I'll open delegated deploy, in another one I'll open my personal one, right? So nothing fancy, very similar, but the main difference is the owner. So you can see the owner of this one is my personal account, and this one is my service account. And in my delegated deploy, I have only one kind of deployment stage. So if I open this one, you can see multiple deployment. I was testing this. Took me a while uh, to build the flows and everything. So let's open this one. Yeah, perfect. So you can see pre-export step for my personal one, unchecked, unchecked, unchecked. So if all these three are unchecked, that means the ownership will lie with the account who's actually clicking the deploy here button. So that's what it means. Then let's check this one. So you can see I have pre-deployment step required and is delegated deployment checked as well. So I selected stage owner. Service principal is completely different setup. So if you want, I'll make another one for service principal, but this one I use stage owner. Stage owner, what does that mean? As the name signify, who is the owner of this particular stage, which is dev to UAT. So this box here, although there is no description or heading what this box at the top means, but this means your pipeline name and the pipeline owner, which is this one, and your name and this owner here means who is the owner of this stage. So for the owner of this stage is my admin account. That's why all the ownership will be via my admin account, no matter who is clicking the deploy here button. It doesn't matter, because whoever is the owner, they will be owning all your components in your production environment. So this pre-deployment step and is delegated deployment. Now what does that mean? Pre-deployment step required is nothing but the approval process. So you saw, right, your deployment is waiting for an approval or some dependent action, and I received one approval notification. I approved it, and then it went to actually deploy it. So the actual deployment is via this step. So if you check this one, that means that you are actually using this stage owner to deploy your solution. So that's what it means. But just checking these check boxes won't do anything. So to actually to actually make these check functional, what we have to do is we have to create a Power Automate flow. So I already have one template stored on my GitHub profile, which is basically equivalent to this. So if you don't select is delegated deployment, that Power Automate flow template I already have on my link on my GitHub profile, on my GitHub repo. But this is an advanced version of it, or I would say an additional layer, which will allow you to do the approval as well, and the actual deployment will be via the stage owner, which is nothing, in my case is the admin account. So now let's look at the flow, how it is being built, and you can see a lot of failed instances. So yeah, let's quickly take a look at the flow, what it's doing, and how it's doing. So we'll just quickly take a look at the case. So the first one is when an action is actually performed. So in my case, since it's Power Platform pipelines, which I am using, catalog is nothing but Dataverse, category is Power Platform pipelines, and action name is on approval started. Now the previous template which I was talking about, which I uploaded, that will be using pre-deployment started. So that is a completely different action, which, as I mentioned, which will be equivalent to only stage which will be checked will be this pre-deployment step required, right? So if you have that one, your trigger would be using pre-deployment started. So this one in last one. But since we are using two different layers for our approval process, that's why we have to use on approval started, right? So what does that mean? That means that the moment you click the deploy here button, it it will recognize that, okay, someone clicked it, doesn't matter who, but someone clicked it. Now I need to trigger the sub or the dependent set of actions, which is nothing but your Power Automate flow. So the moment this gets triggered, what we are checking here, okay, actually I missed that. So on this trigger action, it's a good practice to have like a trigger condition. Trigger condition is nothing but you won't have unnecessary instances where if you have multiple pipelines like I have to right now, right? So for which pipeline this particular flow was initially created. So you can see what I'm checking is deployment pipeline name, and what I'm passing here is delegated deploy, which we just use to actually deploy the solution. So trigger condition, very important, otherwise you will have n number of unnecessary instances which you don't want. It's a nightmare. So that's my trigger action. Then my switch condition. So switch condition is nothing but what is the stage name, right? So in our case, the stage name is nothing but dev to UAT. That's what I'm checking right now on switch stage name. Then I have multiple cases. So case 1 or 0, whatever you call it. So that is for dev to UAT, which we just saw. And this can be UAT to prod. And if you have SIT environment, then dev to SIT, then SIT to UAT, and then UAT to prod. You can have n number of stages here. But it's recommended to have at least 3 environments, which is dev, UAT, and prod. So then this is nothing but my approval step, for which I received that email. You will, at the same time, you will receive a Teams notification as well. So that's your approval step. And who all should get like the approval notification. So in my case, what I am doing is I am using one environment variable, so which is nothing but like semicolon separated email addresses. So for dev to UAT, who all should be receiving the first approval notification for this deployment. So the moment we receive approval as approved, so you can see body outcome contains approve, never use equals to it with white spaces at the end or trailing white spaces, it will be very difficult. So better to use contains as your condition. So outcome contains approve, and if it is true, then what I'm doing is update the approval status. Now this is basically capturing the response of the user and telling Power Platform pipelines that, okay, we received an update and the update is 20. 20 means approve, 30 means reject, right? So if you want to dig deeper, I'll attach the learn article link as well. All these technical terms are very descriptive and very detailed there. So 20 means approve. So I'm basically telling Power Platform pipelines here that, okay, please proceed ahead. We received an update with approval. So the moment that's done, what I need to tell next is that, okay, we have done our approval process. We received approval action, and the pre-deployment step, which we initially checked, which is nothing but this one. So now I'm telling Power Platform pipelines that, okay, the approval is done. Now you started the pre-deployment. So the pre-deployment, I mean, I'm giving you approval as well. So again, 20 pre-deployment step status, I'm passing it as approved, because other than approval, I don't have anything else. But if you have anything else which you want to perform before the deployment actually starts, after the approval and before the deployment start, you need to add between these two actions, which is nothing but here. So but in my case, don't have anything else, so basically I'm giving the approval here as well and passing any comments if I have any. So that's done. So the moment it recognizes both of these actions as successful, it will start deploying. So let's quickly take a look at our instance which we just ran successfully 13 minutes ago. Perfect. So you can see, so settings, my trigger condition uh, got successfully activated, and then all these details and everything. So now you can see my body is nothing but dev to UAT, delegated deploy is my pipeline name. Who actually clicked the deploy button, so that's my personal account, and all the other details. Okay, so you can see on approval started is my actual trigger condition, then switch case expression result dev to UAT, that satisfied my case one. So you can see this didn't run, and my case got satisfied, and my approval also, you can see, approved. Then and this is the main thing, right? So this is true, I got approval, and then this one is nothing but me telling update the approval status with approval status 20, which is again approve, and my comments, so approved for delegated deployment, which I passed, and it will be stored as the run history. I'll show you the run history as well, and how you can see what happened when this was happened, any failure, any error messages, everything. So then lastly, this action. So that's how basically it works. So this is for my actual deployment, and this is just to pass my approval action. Now if this for some reason this gets failed, what you have to do is just update the reject, which is nothing but 30 instead of 20 as status. So that was all for Power Automate side of things. Now I'll show you how and where the actual history is captured. And as I mentioned, I'll give you this whole flow template, so you don't have to build it from scratch and bang your head around the technicalities. You can just download it from my GitHub profile. I'll share you the link as well in the description. So let's take a look at our pipeline. So that's the one I just used. If we go to run history tab, you can see 2 successful runs here. So if you, let's say, open this one, edit, and you can see stage run status succeeded, operation deploy, start time, end time. It took 3 minutes overall to get the approval from the required person, store it, and then actually deploy the solution. Then you can see pre-deployment step required, pre-deployment step status as completed. This relates to this particular checkbox here, and this one is delegated deployment, relates to this approval status, which is approved here, no error message, and validation results you can see here. So this is how a successful history looks like. And if you want, if you have any deployment notes, I don't have any, but you can see the comments as well. If you have any deployment notes, you can see those things as well. And I'll show you one failed one or one cancelled one. Let's say don't have any failed one yet. Okay, so you can see my status is cancelled, approval status pending, but that doesn't mean, because stage run status takes precedence. So you can see cancelled, pre-deploy, at pre-deploy stage I cancelled it, start time, end time, everything. You can see the deployment notes as well if you are passing any comments, everything. So that's how you can see basically the status, the history, and everything. Now, this covers the admin side of things, the automation side of things, and the end result, how it actually looks when set up correctly. But now let's talk about the security side of things. So to actually make this whole setup work, what you need to do is, first of all, this delegated deploy pipeline needs to be shared with any end user who will be actually clicking the deploy here button, and that is read permission only. And let me go back to my environments, pipeline hosting, and your admin account or any production account, which will be like the stage owner, they need to have access on your pipeline hosting as Power Platform deployment pipeline admin, and the same system admin on your target environment. So for example, in my case, it's Akshansh UAT and Akshansh Prod. So this admin account needs to have access as system admin on those environments as well. And on your hosting environment, it needs to have deployment pipeline administrator role. Otherwise, it won't work. So you won't be able to automatically export the solution and import it in your target environment if you don't set these roles correctly. So this is very important. You need to be mindful how you are setting these things up, and the roles and security roles needs to be perfect. Otherwise, it will fail. So yeah, that was all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and as I mentioned, all these resources will be available on my GitHub repo. You can just download the solution from there and use it out of the box. No need to create it again. And thank you for watching this video. And if you really liked it, give me a like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye bye.